community, but I'm sure there are a number of others where the other community members' personality becomes part of the channel experience, similar to Drafts with Joe. Games like Solaris, EU4, I think HOI is, I can't remember what it stands for, but it's the World War II game, right? Hearts of Iron, 4, etc. Games work well with this, though you don't jump into adding 5 new people immediately. Want us to get to know each one for a little bit. I think the other Civ community members added to the success of your Civ 5 content, so just reintegrating this aspect into future content. The occasional game with your editor and community manager could add to that. That's an interesting idea. We did some viewer games of Civ 5. I want to write that one down. Maybe we could do something with a Patreon related thing for that. It's just so hard with the games we play. The games we play tend to be long, in depth. They don't really do well with like one-off stuff, but certainly. Oh, is it a random one? How many subs for the Nier tutorial? That's like asking, like, for a while, a long time ago, Shiro, people would ask how much to buy mod on your channel. And it's one of those things where I think I can't easily evaluate the long-term harm to my channel by accepting something like that. So it makes it really difficult to me to attach a financial value to it. Okay, where were we on this? Crowfall would work well if you go around with a small regular crew who we could get to know, though I'm a little worried that Kush yelling repeatedly on my fucking channel would kill it, and that the real-time complexity and information overload might put me and others off. I think maybe give it a go streaming. If you're sitting there chatting with friends in the downtime, it could be fine. Yeah, we'll see about this. I go up and down in my hopes and dreams for playing Crowfall on stream. I really like the game right now, but the game is certainly in pre-alpha and needs a lot of work. So, yeah. Yeah, Kush. Yeah, Kush. Hi, by the way. I wonder if you were lurking. My personal reason for subscribing was originally the informative videos for Civ. Oh, I wanted to catch up on chat. Sorry, give me 2 seconds to do that. Let's see if I missed anything. More multiplayer content. Yeah, collab stuff would be good. I like you because you. Thanks, Mimi. You've been screaming tabletop themes at Filthy for years now. There's an issue of how to play those WDI in a way that makes any sense for a stream. It's not that I don't think I would like tabletop games. I like gaming in general. I play Terraforming Mars in my off time occasionally. The game's okay. The problem with board games is their shelf life seems so fucking short to me. And you spend like $150 buying like a fucking board game and 2 expansions. You play it 5 times and you move on with life, which always is painful. Talked about the Divinity 2 co-op. Shiro says, civilization is your purpose. You good at it, and it's a niche.
A renewal. Welcome back.
I don't know if I want to reveal my technology for killing people through the internet. So maybe I won't. Did a number of D2 streams. Cool. Never played Battle Brothers, but still enjoyed the hell out of the streams. Yeah, thank you, Eric. That's good news if that's the case. If we can make it entertaining enough that even people who don't play the game find it fun. And actually, I find that that's a lot of the Twitch content I consume is Twitch content of games I'm either interested in, games I was interested in but no longer am interested in, or games that I don't really intend on playing but it still played well. Like I watch Grubby play Warcraft 3 from time to time because I loved Warcraft 3 a million years ago and I have no intention of going back to that game. Well, maybe. I mean, they just released Reforged. But in general, I have no intention of going back to that game and I still enjoy it from time to time. Same problem with playing D&D with too many people. It just takes forever. Yes, exactly. Let me just catch up. Yogcast model works for a reason. They kill that kind of content. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But it's I don't know how to reliably herd that kind of stuff. Maybe there's something to be said about trying to figure that out. I know Jorbs and Dolphin and I have talked a couple times about trying to put something else together. We just need the ideas of what that would be. So I would love to do something like that. And again, I miss interacting with them. Arvius was part of that for a while. Kevin was a part of that. Adam was a part of that. We had a lot of fun with that experience. I had a lot of fun with that D&D for a long time. Anything else to catch up on? You bought your mod, Shiro? I don't remember you buying your mod. You're kind of a weird mod, Shiro. You come in and out of... You're a bit of a lazy mod. You come in and out of being useful to the channel. But you do provide a lot of stuff from a different perspective, which I appreciate. Fewer games might be better with something like TFT. I think I have a lot of problems with the TFT model in the end. In part, it was too RNG based. In part, because I didn't like the strategy element of it in the end all that much. In part, because it's actually a single player game pretending to be a multiplayer game. So yeah, I'm caught up with the rest of this. Tabletop Simulator is great. Does anyone watch fucking Tabletop Simulator? Is it fun? We played that horrible game, Jorbs Dolphin and I, twice now on stream. That was a Tabletop Simulator game. It was fucking boring as shit. It took forever. Cost you $1 billion. If you pay me $1 billion, I will absolutely play that game. Everyone's got a price, and my price is significantly lower than $1 billion. Hey, Joe. Can't stay around forever today, but I enjoy your channel because you're knowledgeable and are always looking for meaningful ways to be better at said games. That really connects to other passionate people. Thank you, man. I appreciate that feedback. And I sent you a text this morning, Joe. If you get a moment, let me know. Love Battle Brothers and never played it. I've outlined a whole novel inspired by it. I'm really excited to hear that, to read that novel, Xanadu. I like mercenary novels, so if you end up writing that novel, let me know. I definitely want to read it. Are there going to be Battle Sisters in your Battle Brothers novel, Xanadu? Your general commentary on the channel is you think I don't leverage the value of your brand and connections to mingle with larger streamers and collabs and stuff. I have a hard time with that, Shiro. That's an interesting criticism, which I think is probably legitimate, but I also don't know what to do with. I don't know what the actional from that is. Because again, like I look at this as a business relationship. I know what I do for you guys. I provide gaming content that's of value to you in terms of getting better, in terms of entertainment, in terms of parsing the stuff that's out there. What is the value I add to a larger channel, especially a much larger channel where I have no immediate in with, right? I am not interested in begging larger channels to be, hey, I want to come on your channel and promote my channel on your channel. Can you do that? I have no interest in begging for that or being a part of that. So there needs to be value returned. Working with Arumba was really nice for that. There was value returned, right? We got to do something. Arumba was a much larger YouTuber channel than me. And we got to do the value in creating a tutorial series for a game that he was an expert on. And we got the reciprocal value of him promoting my channel for that. And then I got to teach him Civ, and we got to have the interaction in the experience of that. That's a great type of relationship to have. That's a mutually beneficial relationship for both people involved in that. It doesn't have to be equally beneficial. It can be better for one person than the other, but it needs to be mutually beneficial still. And I don't know how to set that up with larger streamers or in what context that would work. And I've reached out. I reached out to Grubby a couple times because I would love working with Grubby. Grubby for a while was a viewer of this channel. Would come watch some of the stuff with that. I really like his content. I really like his personality. I would have liked to work with him on something. And I reached out a couple of times asking if there was he wanted to do a collab. But essentially what the impression I got was without me providing the meat of what that collab would be and why that would be extremely beneficial or beneficial to him, he couldn't justify a reason to do that. That was my take. And perhaps it was more than that. Perhaps he wanted no part of doing a collab. I don't know. But that was my take on it. Thank you, Captain Waffer. I like to hear that feedback too. I enjoy bantering with chat. Bantering with people is fun in general. And in my family, affection is shown by teasing people. Do I prefer a thought out comment on YouTube, or are you fine with just a few comments here in chat? YouTube, I don't, and it doesn't matter. The answer is there are all ways to get feedback to me. I read all of them sooner or later anyways. Chat, sometimes I'll miss comments. The benefit of a YouTube comment is it's generally there and I can reference it later. You'd like to see me play something like Kenshi that has a long campaign. Don't know what Kenshi is. Can play games on it, but you'll get with some claims if you're playing a game that's not legal. Okay. The chapter just about fancy hats, right? I need to be more shameless. I don't know that I want to be more shameless, Shiro. So I would rather solve it the other way, which is figure out what value me as a smaller content creator has with some of the larger content creators that I'm interested in collabing with. And honestly, like I want to collab with these people. It wouldn't be that I wouldn't enjoy the boost to my channel. PKA has been a nice boost to my channel in terms of viewership, but I want to collab with the people because I like collabing with the people. In other words, I want to do it because there's some intrinsic benefit to that above and beyond the promote your channel kind of shit. So it could be a game or a tutorial series or an educational series, or just because the banter is really fucking great, or because they're a fun person to play D&D with, or whatever else, right? That to me would be interesting. And I don't know where that overlap is. And some of the like the big channel like drama shit just is so off-putting to me. Let's see. Gotcha, Joe. I will shoot you shortly then. Okay. Just as I'm looking for new content, create so are they too. That's a form of value provided to the bigger streamer. If it is new content, if I'm just like, hey, I want to collab with you, that doesn't provide any content. There's no content for that. You were watching Admiral Baru for the time recently. He was looking for streamers to play XCOM 2 with some of the mods he put together. Maybe this could lead you into something. Yeah, I haven't really touched XCOM 2 in a long time. I don't know if I want to go back to that game. My take on it was worse than Long War and less fun than Long War. And I kind of wanted to see Long War hit it again before I bothered playing it. But maybe. Ooh, that sounds really interesting, Shiro. You'd use an example, Devin Nash. He does metrics analysis, advertising, business Twitch stuff as an ex-CEO of an esports team. Yeah, that would be phenomenally interesting. I would love to set something up with that. I don't know how to go about that. That's the other thing about being an amateur at everything as a Twitch streamer, right? Which is I don't have any background at business. You guys see my social media presence. I am fucking terrible at self-promotion. I do not think that way. I tend to think I'd rather be, if I have the option of promoting or being private, I tend to be private. If I have the option of being quiet or being like, I'm so great, I tend to be quiet because it's just not really how I think about this. It's bad for me business-wise to not be good at self-promoting, but I find it extremely challenging and repeatedly find this extremely challenging. So any way I can crowdsource that via moderators or volunteers or community managers, or any way I can automate that by building with things that say, okay, even though I don't want to do it, I tweet once a week or whatever else it happens to be, or any ways I can retrain my thinking in ways of like, okay, when I get a interesting thing happens to me in real life and I think, that's interesting, I'll talk to my wife about that. Maybe I also tweet about it. Any system like that I can build that to improve that is a good thing. And is a work in progress. That's definitely a work in progress. And you guys, Kex sometimes gets worried that like, or sometimes feels like he's shouting at a brick wall. You're not shouting at a brick wall. This feedback is listened to and internalized, and whether or not I act on it is not always the same thing, but it's certainly getting to me. All right, have I caught up? I think I've caught up on chat. All right, then in the video you talked about trying new games off stream and such, and my advice would have a separate day where you try a few games on stream for limited time so chat can experience your first frustrations and first moments of awe the new game can provide. It's hard to plan content that way because let's say I have 4 games and one of them is really great and I spend 3 hours on it and I don't get to the other ones, and 2 of them are really shit, or all 4 of them are really shit, and I can tell within 5 minutes of loading the game up I don't want to play it. I don't know. I haven't had a lot of luck being predictive about that. Introversion is not a great fit for self-employed. Yep, agreed. I will check that link, Shiro. Yes, Billy, I think. All right, let's continue with the comments then. Okay. My personal reason for subscribing was originally informative videos of Civilization 5. That said, I think you're a great analyzer and love the attention to detail and explanations of playing games. I think this comment comes up a lot, which is what I also think is probably what people are tuning in for at least the YouTube. The min-maxing, even watching your D&D sessions were fun because you're able to maintain a level of competency while remaining entertaining through your in-depth commentary. I honestly don't mind what you play as long as the game has enough depth to display your ability to dissect the game in a way that helps understand and be entertained by the game. And this is what I loved that about D&D. D&D was a good mix of min-maxing combined with getting to be ridiculous and then having a lot of fun with people. The problem was the game itself wasn't complex enough in the end. I stopped enjoying the mechanical side of D&D because it took too long to do things. And at some point it became very one-dimensional. And I don't know what the answer to that. Maybe a different system. Kevin for a while was trying to get us to play, what's the universal role-playing, whatever the hell it is, system, which we haven't learned. And then Adam one time sent me another system that he was getting into that he was interested in trying. But the PDF he sent me was like 600 or 700 pages long. And I'm like, I don't think I can just read that. Yeah, GURPS. That sounds right. Yeah, I should mention that again. I'm going to be at TwitchCon. No, so far, although me requesting responses about TwitchCon Europe, no one has responded about TwitchCon Europe in this video. I will be at. Well, I'm not even. I committed to going to TwitchCon Europe. At the moment, I have purchased a location, or I have paid into my share of a house I'm sharing with some other streamers while I'm there. So I know the dates that's there. I haven't booked flights yet. And after yesterday's horror stories about flying, you can understand my hesitation to do that again. But I got an offer from a viewer, actually. He DM'd me on Discord saying I could stay at his apartment if I wanted to, which is a sweet offer, but already got a place to stay right now. I think you're going to strike gold with Crowfall. I don't, but I hope I do. Especially if you're going to continue making content for it during the early stage of the game. By the time it releases, you'll already be one of the main, more popular content creators for it, which will only make your content grow more as all the normal casual people start checking the game out once it releases. Started watching you years ago playing Civ 5 because you seem to be the most knowledgeable person about the game. I've continued watching you since then, some games more than others. I've been playing competitive PvP MMOs since the 7th grade with Ultima Online in 98, so if having a PvP focused MMO game is your main / passionate game, on top of the way you min-max things, well, I'm stoked to see your Crowfall content to say the least. Looking forward to more of it. Yeah, that's my hope. Certainly one of the best positions to be in as a content creator is to be an expert when the game immediately releases, because then you hit two of the big check marks, which is, for me anyways, expert content creator, which means expert at the game so I can actually create guide videos that are both good, informative, useful, and timely, right? Showing up when people want them. And then additionally, doing that prior to the game's release is really nice. So we'll see. Thank you, Xanamu. You guys are going to be there. Shiro's going to be there. Kex is going to be there. I like hearing this. I like hearing that this is going to be useful. And it was funny too. Jorbs did a meet and greet at TwitchCon. It wasn't a meet and greet. Did you guys see the TwitchCon NA TwitchCon stuff where they had like you go meet a streamer and there's a big ass line you stand in and you get to talk to them for a few minutes. Jorbs did one of those and had a couple people show up, but not a lot. And then like right next to him was Brian Kibler, I think it is. Kibler, I think it's Kibler. Was there as well, and he's a very large Magic personality who has played a shit ton of other games, including Hearthstone as well, right? Like, who has a big viewer base, and there weren't a lot of people in that line either. So my take from this is not to randomly shit on two people who I admire, but rather to point out the fact that it's a weird thing to be setting up a meet and greet for essentially an online relationship. And it's also difficult to do that if you're not really clear where your audience is and who they are and where they're going to be. So the idea of meeting a shit ton of my viewers at TwitchCon EU is actually really appealing to me. I think it'd be super fun to do that, but I'm a little hesitant to set up a bunch of stuff for that. So I'd like to kind of get some sense of who's going and who isn't. Not before I commit to doing it. I'm already committed to doing it, but before I set up any sort of direct meet and greets. Yeah. Kibler's dog's name is Shiro. Well, you're putting me off of him as a person right now. I enjoy your strategy and min-maxing style of gameplay. Oh, any other thoughts about Crowfall? Yeah, I'm unsure if this will work as a streamable game, but maybe as a YouTube kind of game, it might be a pretty decent like secondary thing I can do on my channel. Problem is I can't put as much time into a game as I want if I'm not streaming it, because I put so much time into streaming that I don't really have time for both all the time. And I'm kind of double dipping a little bit with Crowfall right now, but I am mentally justifying this as investment in something that I'm hoping will be good. So this is not really much on me right now. If I continue to invest after I get evidence that the game will not be good, that will be on me. But at the moment, it is up in the air how good it will be. It has some really cool systems, but it is a pre-alpha work and is therefore not close to release, or well, not close to finish in terms of what they're providing. I would really like another PvP MMO sandbox game right now. I think that hits a lot of the boxes that we're not currently ticking. It's deep, it's strategic, it's challenging. It has multiplayer, it has personalities to interact within, and I get to do really cool things in worlds like that. And I'm really looking forward to that. Well, that's part of my thing, Kex, is like, it doesn't need to be a big line for people meeting. That's not my point at all. My point is basically trying to tailor the environment. If you're setting up a meet and greet and you want that to be successful, what you're trying to do is tailor what works for you and what works for your viewers. And both Jorbs and Kibler are both very big streamers and very big content producers, and neither of them were particularly rewarded for taking that particular venue at that TwitchCon for that. And that that's, I think, a mismatch of who's attending or what they're trying of the people who are interested in doing that, and the location and timing and setup for that. You're right. A bar might be the place for us to do a meet and greet because, who doesn't? Because I like drinking. It helps me be it helps me be more social, and it's probably a good place to meet people anyways, right? Like in terms of like, your pastime activity, if no one shows up, is not standing at a counter looking forlorn as no one comes to your meet and greet. Your pastime is, well, fuck it, I'll have a couple beers then. All right, I enjoy your streaming and min-max style of gameplay. I did turn away during that stint of Dota chess, maybe once a week to do community voted game, and if you like it, keep with it. Again, we've talked about the pros and cons of that. It's very difficult to figure out, to fit a game into a single day if it's a good game, and it's very difficult to fill a game if it's fill a day if it's a bad game. It's very difficult to make those decisions beforehand, whether or not it's a good game or a bad game, and it's particularly jarring to viewers to continually transition games in the middle of a single stream. Also, voting as a regular thing is kind of a pain. Getting votes, figuring that, like, I know there's very easy systems for voting, like straw poll. That's not my point. My point is getting people to engage with a vote that they have to do something about regularly, and then in that time tracking that down. This is part of the system we're building right now. Hopefully we will have super suggesters and have a better core of games to draw upon. And maybe we make that into some sort of voting system, or maybe we don't, but we make that open to people to see what's coming out, what the types of things Filthy's looking to interested in, the past games he's done and what he thinks of them, and the games he's considered but rejected, so that we can get people, we can basically make the feedback process a better, more interactive process. Came for the Darkest Dungeon videos, stayed with Battle Brothers, would love to see more Battle Brothers. This is becoming almost like a Civ 5 comment. I'm done with Battle Brothers for the immediate future. Some stuff that would change that would be a large addition to content, a rework mod that I was interested in, which is not currently the Legends mod, or something of that vein probably. Started watching you with Civilization 5 gameplays and guides. I keep watching you with Darkest Dungeon. It was very entertaining with your Battle Brothers runs. The rest of the stuff I don't care very much about. These are the 3 most popular sets of games that I've played on my channel. Probably in there should be Civ 6, but that was a very, very short period of time. Civ 5, Darkest Dungeon, Battle Brothers. Those have been the good mix of passion, expertise, and viewer engagement, which is funny because there's not a lot of people watching Battle Brothers. And when I was streaming Darkest Dungeon, it wasn't a super popular game either, although it seemed to have done very well long-term in terms of streaming. I watched all your Battle Brothers episodes. I'm interested in turn-based strategy. I think you're fairly spot on with your assumption, for me at least. I watched your content originally for the educational aspect of it, but kept watching it due to the depth yet enjoyable gameplay and content. As for the games, I loved your older games such as Darkest Dungeon and Civ. However, any games you play, I'm sure will get attention anyways. Thought though Darkest Dungeon was my favorite. Keep it up. Since you have a background in psychology, have you thought about talking, educating, or exploring ideas about it with your viewers? I know I could enjoy watching that. We did talk at one time, my wife and I, about doing a relationship relationship advice kind of hour or two per week or something. And she was really excited about that for a while, but the viewers did not seem to want to be doing that. I don't know that I feel enough of an expert in psychology to be giving advice regularly like this. I watched a little bit of, God, I can't remember his name. I think he's a Harvard psychologist who, I think might be a psychiatrist. Can't remember if psychiatrist or psychologist, who's giving this type of advice to his channel. And God, I can't remember his name. Yeah, no, not Dr. Phil. It's not Dr. Phil. What the fuck is his name? He's a streamer. He streams this shit. And it's basically about mental health for gamers, essentially. I can't remember his name right now, but his stuff was okay. But I found it. So one time in college, I went to took advantage of the college counselor to go talk to them. I was like I'd changed universities, and I was finding it a bit slow meeting people and getting engaged and getting involved with people around me. And we kind of went to be like, I wonder if they have any good suggestions. And I went in and kind of mentioned this and like brought this up as, why I was going to this and what I was looking for. And they thought it would be useful to model a conversation. Like, here's a greeting. Now you do a greeting. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. That level is not the level that I'm looking to engage with or the issues I'm having. And it kind of sidestepped, or rather didn't relate that to what I was actually there for.
Back.
And sometimes I feel a bit like
Sorry
that
if
with
you
that type of
answered
content.
this before, but I'd really appreciate a short comment. What's your take on Camelot Unchained?
Thank you, Swindles, for the 10 months in a row. I think I may have missed your sub. Sorry, I'm getting caught up in the conversation here. Solly, welcome back for 44 months. And right now, Naipai with the 7 months. Really appreciate a short comment on what's my take on Camelot Unchained. Which one is that? Is that the unreleased one? Is that one of the other upcoming MMOs that's unreleased? Or is that the one what was the one that just came out not too long ago that I was excited about until I realized it was a remake? Unreleased, yeah. I am not super engaged in the development process of that. I haven't played beta or seen footage of that. The Crowfall community that I'm involved in right now references a lot of other upcoming games, and that one doesn't seem to be super high on that list. But I think my answer would be I'm not an expert on that and don't really know, but I'm keeping an eye on it because I'm looking for PvP sandbox MMOs, and I've been looking for a good one for the last 10 years. So I remain looking for a good one. Yeah, and that's another thing. I don't have that hero complex of trying to carry the world on my shoulders. I have no desire to help or change people. Like it's not that I'm against people being helped or changed. It's just that I don't feel personally responsible to do that. All right. You said that when you're playing with, you said yourself when playing CK2 with the Roomba that you're a power gamer. Other than Tyranny, I've seen that you naturally avoid investing in story and lore and naturally gravitate towards the math meta of a game. I would say Factorial, Satisfactory, Crossroads Inn, Banish, Surviving Mars, Planetfall. Otherwise, your best games for your community were Darkest Dungeon, Civ 5, Battle Brothers, Magic the Gathering, XCOM. Okay. Why do I watch you? You're very smart. You make good breakdown of game mechanics and how they interact with each other, which leads to 3 enjoyable things. 1, you become very good at the games you play. 2, you analyze the content in an insightful way, and only once you've had the time to learn about it and avoid bullshitting us. I try to do that. This one is a weird one because it's not always in my best interest, to be honest with you guys. But I do value directness and accuracy, which often but not always relates to honesty. You understand the game so well that you're able, and 3, you understand the game so well that you're able to explain them very well. Obviously, you're entertaining, but every YouTuber I watch is. I agree. So I say those sort of things that put you ahead of the pack. This comes back to a Hafu comment for me, which is I at one point asked her essentially a question about streaming, and her answer was, why would people tune into your content above somebody else? And I also agree. I have a fairly entertaining personality, but I can't do that nonstop. And there are definitely people who are vastly more entertaining than I am from a pure personality perspective. Taylor from PKA comes to mind. Beagle from Beagle Rush's Twitch channel comes to mind. There are people who are more on as a personality and certainly more reactive as a personality nonstop. And I don't think that's something easily faked. Maybe you could train yourself to do it, but it's not easily faked for me. So I also agree that I need to find some other, that needs to be a baseline. You need to be engaged and interactive and interesting to some degree, but that is basically every entertainer's baseline. So you do need to find something else that distinguishes yourself. Dr. Disrespect, Baru. I don't think anyone knows this Kush Dubious person, but I think the gimmick of just randomly shouting into your microphone every 2 seconds might put some viewers off on the long term. You say this stems from passion directly related to the game, but if I'm being honest, I find you as smart, articulate, and insightful, and overall fun to watch in PKA. So maybe it's more of a personality trait than something else. Well, certainly what I'm doing is I'm translating the way I engage with my personality into gaming. That's what this type of analytical breakdown is. That's how I engage in life. So that might be that. And I enjoy the PKA stuff. It took me a while to get there because initially I was really worried about the PR elements of it, their engagement with really like non-PC topics and wanting to correct a lot of the shit that was going on in there. Like some of the early conversations were more me about like policing some of that conversation because it was just like, holy shit, that's so fucking inappropriate what you're saying right now. And these days I kind of just roll with it there because I'm kind of over that. I'm kind of like, whatever, we can bullshit about this. And occasionally I get interesting conversations to occur of that. Sometimes I kind of get lost in the weeds with kind of we're just reacting to shit and that's whatever. But I like it when I get conversations with them. Kyle and Woody and Taylor are all fucking smart people and they've had very interesting lives and they have a lot of insight to offer into shit. And I like discussing things with them. But then again, that's how I engage. That's why I like engaging. That's why I like Joe Rogan stuff, right? I like discussing things with people. That's interesting to me. I don't know Tyler One. I think he's a LOL streamer, right? On the grind and lack of content. Totally get you, but at the end of the day, there's no perfect job, and at some point you got to just do the work. This does not mean you should keep playing something you're not enjoying. You just got to do something. Play an hour of a game suggested from your chat. Maybe once a month, try an old game. Perhaps every now and then step out of your comfort zone and show us Filthy Tries shooters or fighting games or racing or whatever. Hell, it doesn't even need to be playing. Maybe if you don't feel like it playing, you could tell us about one game you loved back in the day or something you're excited to try again later this year, movies, books, or etc. The grind is just about doing stuff, but no one enjoys watching you not enjoying what you're doing. Yeah, I'm like half in, half out on this comment. I agree. I think not doing something I enjoy is ultimately not a good solution for entertaining. I think some of these ideas are the same ideas that everyone has. The idea of you could try variety days. You could let your chat vote on stuff. You could try a bunch of different shit. The take home I've had from a couple years of trying that now is it doesn't actually work very well. This is why we're working on this particular system that we have now, or we're trying to do now, because I think I need a better answer to this than this answer, because this is the answer that we've tried, has been suggested, and doesn't work. I also think that when I can be passionate about other things and talk about them, they make for good diversions. This is one of the benefits of a single player game, is I have the time to stop and discuss some of these things, like telling stories about my traveling yesterday, or we've had some really good conversations about books on this channel, like talking about the Goodreads stuff, like that type of stuff has been engaging for me, and I think engaging for you guys as a not super often, but still fairly regular diversion from just the gaming. Hey, catch up. You're full speed all the time. I know you are, you crazy bastard. All right. Sincerity is very important. I hope so. I am a fairly sincere, and I think earnest is a good word to describe me most of the time. Woody being a boomer. Woody's a funny guy. I like Woody. Filthy guest interview podcast. Don't know what that is. Haven't watched all of Filthy's PKA. Okay. I watch PKA for Destiny or Filthy. Regarding content more specifically, I'd like to see two things from you: more Paradox games and more collabs. I agree with the more collabs. I'm not sure about the more Paradox games. Paradox games have a huge niche following, but I don't actually wish to just play EU4 for the rest of my life. Again, nods to people who can do this: Arumba, Grubby, Jorbs at the moment right now with Slay the Spire. I have not found it particularly mentally healthy to try to grind games I'm not interested or am finished with. I just want to move past them and do something else. And there's enough games in this world. I think I can do that if I build a better system for finding them and getting them onto the channel. So in a perfect world, you play Hearts of Iron 4 with, I don't know who DA9L is. I thought it was Day9, but it's definitely not. DA9L is something else. I did miss Hearts of Iron 4. I'm not against trying that, but initially when it came out, I wasn't super impressed with the reviews it was getting. But this is Paradox. They do perpetually patch and improve their content, and their content tends to be fairly good in the long run. So maybe Hearts of Iron 4 is something to maybe consider. I have seen Oxygen not included. I don't know that I want another game like that immediately, Shiro. I think that was very similar to me in terms with like RimWorld to some degree, but I think I may need a break from that on my channel. You love you some Slay the Spire. I think Slay the Spire is an excellent game. I think a couple hundred hours of content in that is totally doable. And every time they add a new character, I think more content comes out. But I think Jorbs is up to like 10 billion hours right now. And more power to him, man. It's great for his channel, but I can't do it. The three you listed are Obsidian games. Obsidian is my favorite game developer about RPGs. Obsidian games are very wordy, but they have enjoyable gameplay. But the true secret sauce is the storytelling and writing, which I guess is an inherent part of RPGs. The problem is I only ever want to watch a single gameplay of these games. And while RPG character building is generally a part I thoroughly enjoy, it doesn't translate well from doing it to watching someone else do it. Yeah, we keep hitting the same issue with RPGs, don't we? It just may not be something the channel can support. In a more specific case to your own channel, or rather, maybe it's something the channel can support in small increments. Again, like maybe like the 2-hour window or hour and a half window at the end of a stream playing through an RPG might actually get us there. It would be slow. It's probably not going to be like the first look at it. We might miss the hype windows with it, but that would allow, and if that was very heavily added to a up-to-date YouTube playlist, we might be able to solve the context problem by not overproducing the content in a given time period and still providing a format for people to catch the full context of that playthrough. That might be interesting. Jorbs is another extremely smart person, EA Arkham, who has a very nice understanding of game systems. I think he did some game development at some point with, I believe, both Magic, building decks, statistically building decks in Magic, as well as this stuff with XCOM, right? And I think that's served him very well for analyzing that type of game. Jorbs is smart. In a more specific, and he's another one of these guys who's pretty good at coming at the problem not from a different angle than I would expect. It's a nice skill. In a more specific case to your own channel, when I watch you play RPGs, you often don't read the text on screen. I don't expect you to, since it's truly a lot of text, but it does make it much lower value content for me, since I often watch streams while doing something else or zoning out. So actually reading is a no-go. Yeah, I've heard that feedback. That would have to be something I get used to doing as I play RPGs. For me, I read out loud at maybe a fifth of the pace I read internally, maybe slower. I'm not actually sure. I've never actually done that comparison. It'd be interesting to see how long it takes me to read a paragraph as opposed to like read it out loud versus parse it. I don't know. But the point being that for me, it's like I hate fucking inefficiencies and I hate waiting. So I'm sitting there like, holy shit, I've already read this and now I'm only like a quarter of the way through reading it. And then I've already read it and processed it and I already skimmed so my mind has already gone, this is just the fucking NPC telling me he has a daughter that doesn't fucking matter whatsoever and that we can get on with our lives. But I'm only a quarter of the way through reading it. so even like waiting for the voiceovers, I agree, the real Oha. So with Pillars of Eternity 2, that was well voice acted, right? That was like all professional voice acting, and the voice acting was pretty good. And that still took forever. I'm just like, oh my God. I almost want I think ideally I need like a voice acted game that's fully voice acted and has no text interface at all. Because then I would be limited at the rate I could process to the rate at which they're providing information. You know? But we'll see. In a more specific case to your channel, and honestly, that might just be something that if I do stream an RPG on this channel again, that I just have to suck up and deal with, right? I have to suck up and deal with the fact that I need to read this out loud. And I just have to deal with that. In a more specific case to your own channel, when I have watched you play RPGs, you often, I read that. Glad you're getting along with your editor. He seems to get your style. I've been super pleased with Fatal/Ralph, who is my current editor, and hopefully that continues. I hope you have a terrific time in Europe. Me too, man. Also, I can't believe it's been 2 years since Wisconsin happened. I know. Me neither. All right. Okay, what's next? Hi, Filthy. I think Cyberpunk will give you tons of views. I don't know why. This is the second or third person who also thinks that Cyberpunk will be the RPG exception. Do you guys know that? Yeah, you can give them a sub. Sure, of course you can give them a sub. Do you get the sense that Cyberpunk will be an exception? I think Cyberpunk looks like an excellent game. It looks so cool from the previews that you guys had me watch, right? Like the preview of the gaming content. It looked amazing. And I'm going to fucking play it because I want to play amazing games on my channel. But why do a couple of the viewers think this will be different from other good RPGs? I thought Pillars of Eternity 2 was a really well done RPG. Overhyped. Everyone's going to be streaming it. Playing fresh RPGs better. We'll see. I'm gonna stream it some. We'll see how much. Maybe we'll do a couple full days of it. Evaluate the viewer interest in it, and then if the viewer interest is low, rather than stopping our playthrough or stopping playing the game, maybe we'll switch to the 4 hours of one game, 2 hours of Cyberpunk in the afternoon style stuff. We'll see. It looks super cool. I discovered you because of Civilization. I don't want to tell you how to play. I don't want you to tell me how to play perfect at X game. I want to discover that by myself because this is the point of the game. But to show me other approaches would be nice, just like what you did in back in the days of Liberty on Civilization 5. Yeah, that is one downside of guide videos. I try to be pretty clear, though, when I present guide videos, what the limitations of that are. Like, if you're trying to do this, these are the things that work and these don't. That's not telling you how to play. You can still try things that either don't work or you can do things within that realm. But it's a fair point. I love your channel. You're the only active non-Spanish channel I'm currently in. Regards and sorry for this Spanish English. Oh, that's nice to hear. Cheers. And a donation from Fatty Badger Pants, $25. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Support matters. Support matters a lot. So I appreciate those donations. You always want to be the first in the first 2 rows of any category. This is the number 1 rule of Twitch. The higher, the better. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Streaming games that are heavily saturated is a dangerous proposition, because the people who watch you then are just your core viewers, and your core viewers are absolutely critical to your channel, but they're not the only viewers you're bringing in. And not being able to pick up those people who are watching games for the game, who then find and discover you through you being the top streamer in that, is definitely a downside. I'm here for the strategy gaming content. You're bright, incredibly well-spoken, and do a great job of presenting ideas about some of the more complex games out there, even during regular non-educational play. Personality is important, but I think it takes a bit of a backseat here since you're a well-balanced person with not that many out there opinions. Even when it comes to D&D, I'm looking for tips and tricks for running a smooth game. The lack of a game to play, I think, is fairly indicative of the state of strategy gaming in general. I don't buy that. And it's not because it may actually be true, but the problem with this statement is I have no control over that. I can't change that if that's the case. And I actually tend to believe the amount of gaming content out there that there is stuff that we could do well on this channel if I could find it better. And I'm going to base a lot on that. I'm going to risk is the wrong word. I'm going to expend a fair amount of resources on that assumption, because I think we can do a better job of game selection on this channel. And if I can get the game selection piece in play, I think we will have more of the type of content that this channel does well and that you guys come to me to watch, I think. He still plays Civ 5 himself. When it comes to non-strategy RPGs, the issue is probably the desire to play a game versus the desire to watch someone play the game. If it's story-driven, I'm probably just going to go and experience that story myself and not immediately repeat that experience by watching a stream. Cool. For me, your beginning assumption was on the spot. Great. I did not actually know that you played some RPGs. We'll check that out. But on that, you are perhaps interested to play Breath of the Wild. The game is really good and will not make a playthrough good. I did not actually knew what you played. Some RPGs will check that out. But on that, are you perhaps interested to play Breath of the Wild, the game? Breath of the Wild. The game is really good and will make a good playthrough, I think. Yeah, again, I have no way to parse individual game selections out of nowhere, or game suggestions out of nowhere. Hopefully we'll fix that. Thank you, Lolpot22 for the sub. Welcome. I appreciate your analytical min-max approach to games and your snarky wit that makes this channel unique. I discovered this channel from the Civ 5 days, but I enjoyed your playthroughs in Battle Brothers, Tyranny, and Pillars of Eternity as well. Hopefully this dry spell with regards to streamable content will soon give way to new and glorious playthroughs. Thanks for the kind words and sentiment. I hope so too. And better than hoping for change, actively trying to promote change through changing some of the things we do, which I think is the only way to fucking get that to work. Used to watch your Civ 5 games all the time. Since that era, I haven't found anything you post that has stuck with me. I watch some videos from time to time nowadays. What I used to love was the full games and raw and the knowledge you brought. Your Civ 5 Every Nation's tier list videos are my favorite of all time. Watching you since Civ 5, and I can say with absolute certainty the reason I watch your content is your min-max detailed style, both playing and explaining. I've been watching you play for many years. The key for me is a deep, passionate mechanical play. Please keep doing you. I saw you had a vote about new games. I enjoyed you were playing RimWorld. I had fun with RimWorld. And if it's still a thing, I hope you get into Factorial. I'm very hesitant to get into Factorial. There is some improvement available for your green screen. Otherwise, happy with channels. Yeah, I gotta go buy a new fucking camera. This is Andre saying, I just wanted to say that not only do you have passion for the games you play, but you also have passion for streaming itself. This is a perfect showcase of that. It's basically a similar thing to figuring out what works and doesn't in a game. I agree. I think the whole appeal that is also that you don't try to make things unnecessarily exciting. You're neither always upbeat nor are you always raging about the game. It's a calm stream, and yet when you get frustrated or something with the game, you still show it. Yeah, that's kind of the emotional tone that I want to aim for as a whole, and something I think as I get older and more mature, as well as just as I'm doing this longer as a profession, that I do better, right? Which is keeping the ups and downs entertaining and being able to react to, especially the things that always crack me up is like totally crazy things that happen, like very, very low chance things or bullshit stuff that happens or whatever else. Being able to react to that and laugh about it and get annoyed at the fact that it's happening in the game without that making me internally angry or upset, which I think is basically where I want to be for this stuff. Did an Outworlds LP? Yep. YouTube has not showed that to me. I don't think it ever made it to YouTube. Also, I have a new game suggestion. Pathfinder Kingmaker would be really fun to see you play. That we did stream briefly. Oh, I should hype Joe randomly. If you like Joe, comes to play Magic with me from time to time, is a small streamer himself. He's done a full Pathfinder Kingmaker playthrough. So if you ever want to watch that, I'm sure he's got VODs up. Check up with chat. If Civ 6 is a game, we hoped it would be the kind of game you could play nonstop for years. Right, exactly. That was one of those things that was a really big disappointment for me as a professional, as a businessman there, which was that Civ 6 would have made a great content if it was a good game, but it was terrible. Why are some of my YouTube playlists in reverse order? Meaning, why is the newest video always first in the playlist? Because some of the things that are updated do better like that. For example, state of the... which one are we on? We're on this one, right? If we go to the state of the channel videos, which are a playlist of themselves so people can watch those, this is the state of the channel playlist here.
I dislike because
you can see it over here. If I put these in the order in which they released, the first one is always state of the channel June 2017. We don't want state of the channel June 2017. We want the most recent one being on top. And so the way these videos are done, if you, let me just make sure I'm not doing something I don't want to be doing here. 2 seconds. Maybe I can show you this from a content creator position. Yeah, okay. So I can show it here. From a content creator position, when we're releasing these, YouTube does not give me very good organizational stuff, and people are very bad at navigating YouTube as far as I can tell. So what we tend to do is we tag our videos on this channel with playlist stuff, right? So this video gets auto added to the state of anything with a specific tag or sometimes set up in a specific way gets auto added to an existing playlist. And this gets auto added to most recent videos as well as the state of the channel videos. And the state of the channel videos really are time sensitive, so it makes sense to stack it in that order. It shouldn't be like that for most things, but some of them are just better in that format, in my opinion. All right. For me specifically, you got it head on with why I watch your content. I regularly watch, for example, your Battle Brothers seasons. If my campaign is stuck, your thinking is very respectable and creative, and your humor is great. Thanks. What I'd like to see from you is more DD content, DD2 in the future. DD2 in the future is definitely something we'll be checking out. That's the sole reason I'm subscribed. You're the #1 DD expert to me. A lot of people echo this sentiment, mostly in Civ and DD. And often Battle Brothers, except for the Battle Brothers forum, which thinks I am terrible at Battle Brothers as a game and am the fucking devil to watch. I do appreciate all the other content as well because your stuff clicks with me very well. But again, DD man, DD it is. Sorry if this gets asked a lot, but playing Magic the Gathering with Taylor would be great. Titus, I have no real interaction with the PKA guys that's not entirely true. Kyle watches my stream from time to time, but outside of Kyle watching my stream from time to time, and I occasionally chat with Chiz about business related things, but I have almost no interaction with the PKA guys when I'm not on PKA. I did float the idea for Taylor for a while, once or twice, but he never bit on the idea, so I assume he's not interested.
A renewal.
You love my hate of lepers and how Red Hook reacted to it. I don't remember how Red Hook reacted to it. How did they react to it? Graygon, thanks for the resub. You remember me. I played Dawn of War 3 before its inevitable demise. I like Dawn of War 3. Taylor's probably a father right now, right? Silly bastard. All right. I'm min-max games. I like tuning to watch you solve min-max in game, whether it's A, to improve, since you're very observant and figure things out that I passed over. I like tuning in to watch you solve / min-max a game, whether it's A, to improve, since you're very observant and figure things out that I passed over, or B, to relive that learning / solving phase of playing a new game. I've heard this a couple times. This is one that I don't really, that doesn't really resonate with me in terms of I don't watch I watch content creators for this. But I've heard that a couple times now, enough to the point that I believe it's probably some minority of people find that engaging to watch me solve a game that they have already are expert at. And C, to get a crash course. And I guess I get some enjoyment out of teaching. There's a teaching element to this, right? Like I love teaching my wife games, even though she doesn't really like gaming, and most of it is not a good use of anyone's time. By the way, we will be doing a makeup stream for Missing New Year's this year. She's already committed to it, and I will hold her to that because I get her to game basically once a year, and that's on stream. And I know you guys like that. It will be a drinking gaming stream. I don't know what game we're going to do yet. We could certainly talk about that as a community, figure out which ones would be good for that. Throwing her into RimWorld is going to be entirely fucking pointless, for example. Although maybe we could play her on like an easy setting and she could figure that out on her own or something. I don't know. But interface complexity is going to be bad because she does not game. So she has none of the basic background that a lot of people have for gaming. But I want to do that. I want to do that makeup stream because I have a lot of fun with that. And I haven't told her this yet, and she's not watching. She doesn't watch my stream, so we can say this. I bought a bottle of Prosecco for her for when she comes back on Wednesday to celebrate her getting back and make up for a little bit of the fact we didn't get to spend New Year's together doing anything, etc. So, all right, to get a crash course and picking up a new game that you already played a bit and or watch game suggestions, since we're pretty much the same interest, non-specific and probably not very helpful. It's not helpful. All of these feedbacks are useful. It lets me get a kind of running tally of how people are responding to the content and what they're interested in. So all of this is helpful. All right, chat, I am at my lunchtime. I need a quick break. I'm getting a little bit hoarse. I'm going to microwave some food. It'll take me about 2 to 3 minutes. I'll be hanging out as I'm running back and forth, microwaving, monitoring chat, and we will continue with this. I wasn't expecting this to take quite as long. I started reading this prior to my stream, and I'm like, I'm not going to get through this in time. Maybe I can just do it on stream because I really appreciate this feedback. This has been really, really useful feedback for me for this video. This is why I released this video. I wanted to tell you guys what's going on with me, what's happening in my life right now, what I'm thinking of for the channel moving forward. I want to talk about the low viewership numbers of the last couple months. I want to talk about some of the things we're going to be doing differently. And I want to get some sense of whether I'm right on my set of assumptions or if I'm barking up the wrong tree. Because if I make a bunch of changes predicated on the fact that I think these things are happening because of this and I'm wrong, that doesn't get me anywhere. But if I make a bunch of decisions predicated on these ideas and you guys are like, yeah, you're pretty much, that's correct. That's from my perspective. That's true as well. That's really useful. So getting feedback from you guys is really, really helpful right now. So taking this time to do that, I think is worth the time. All right, chat. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to make some food and then we'll continue with this. All right. Got some chicken and green beans in me. Let's see what's going next. All right, let's catch up on chat. I see Xenobu. You thought I said makeup? As in like a makeup stream? No, I don't think so. No, this will be a, oh my God, what's a synonym for makeup here? I can't think of a word for a synonym for that. I'm blanking entirely on that. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Maybe it'll come to me in a minute. Okay. Let's see. Okay. It's an anime stream now. Fuck no, it isn't. All right. 100%. Let's continue the comments. 100% about the education about 100% education about the games for me. To add to that, a lot of times I watch your channel specifically to learn about a game that you're playing. I don't watch the RPGs because I'm not interested in those games. Also, I very rarely watch Twitch channels because our Twitch channel because our schedules line up so poorly. Compensation, not quite the right tone, is it? It's like what happens? Like a cancellation.